Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. There's an old Cornish litany that states, "From ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties and things that go bump in the night, good Lord, deliver us." Our scenario is entitled The Necropolis, and it was written by Lee Carr. It's a one-shot, and I am the game master. The 5 players, some of whom are new to our group, were given pre-generated characters. Let's introduce them. First up, we have Thomas Greenway. Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom, and I'm playing the fabulously wealthy Richard Wainwright III, dilettante of noble English blood.
Excellent. Kevin?
I'm Kevin. I'm playing Professor Edgar Carter, elder brother of the more famous Howard Carter, attempting to make a better name for myself than my younger brother.
Excellent. Kim?
I'm Kim. I am playing Professor Stephen Turlow, linguist.
Excellent. Ford?
Hi, I'm Ford. I'm playing Vince McBaron, ex-sergeant in the Canadian military, who is now working in the dig.
Ford, your microphone is good.
Oh, sorry about that.
We could hear you, though. It was just a long far away. George?
No problem.
I'm George Sig, and I'm playing Musa Zohair, the Egyptian crew chief on this excavation.
All right, excellent. It's hot as blazes in the midday Egyptian sun, but let's leave the light behind and begin our journey into the darkness. It was just a couple of months ago when Professor Stephen Turlow received a letter from the millionaire Richard Wainwright III, asking if he would be interested in joining his archaeological dig in Egypt. Wainwright was looking for a linguist fluent in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. The professor was thrilled. Finally, he could do something worthwhile. Richard Wainwright, despite his vast wealth, had always loved getting his hands dirty, especially when the reward was historical discovery and the fame that followed. Egypt was the land of amazing and spectacular discoveries, and he had eagerly funded a dig in the Valley of the Kings. He had hired a reputable archaeologist, Edgar Carter, whose younger brother, Howard Carter, just 2 years previous, had uncovered the tomb of King Tutankhamun. He hoped that Carter would live up to his brother's reputation. He also hired an ex-soldier, Mr. Vince McBaron, who looked like he could handle any problems that might come up. He would assist in much of the labor and security. And finally, he hired a local, Musa Zohair, a crew chief. The man seemed properly motivated to keep his workers in line. Unlike most of the other workers, Musa was not superstitious, and he handled his workers rather well. The team, your team, worked very well together. The patron, the professor, the archaeologist, the soldier, and the crew chief. The sun was hot, the heat oppressive, which was a bit unusual for this time of the year. It was just past noon on November 24th, 1924. You've been working tirelessly with shovel, spade, and trowel in the Egyptian Valley of the Kings. Exhaustion is setting in, but your reward is at hand. You and your comrades carefully unveil the entrance of an ancient structure buried deep into a cliff face. The contracted laborers had scuttled around you like busy ants, and now, at last, a doorway is uncovered. You stand proudly at the base of 13 steps, descending into an entryway covered by an enormous stone slab. The laborers have constructed a makeshift pulley system over the excavation, and as you watch, they hoist the heavy slab upwards, revealing a dark passageway. Stale air from the darkness invites you with a promise of untold treasure. You excitedly rush inside. You are mere steps away from fame and fortune. The hallway is decorated with hieroglyphics and illustrations, And from where you stand, you can see something glinting gold farther down the passage. All right, what do you guys do?
I'm busy scribbling down hieroglyphics like a madman.
Well, you're just getting a chance to glance at them at the moment.
How old's the passage? Has it recently been opened, or has it been? Does it look as though there's what are they called? Grave robbers been in?
Well, it seems at first that that nothing has been in here for ages, but do a spot hidden roll for me.
98.
Yeah, so you don't see anything yet. Wainwright, of course, you were the first one to walk inside. It's your privilege. What would you like to do?
First of all, I'll turn around and say, bloody good work, chaps. This is why we did this. I'll sort of try and peer off and see what I can see in the a bit further down.
Well, as you're walking a little bit further down, you can see that there looks like there's a couple of things, like a piece of furniture, maybe a table that glints bright gold, like it's made out of gold or covered in gold. There's a chest next to it, fairly large, maybe 2 feet across, that's ornate and covered in gold. And there is an archway. However, the archway is sealed up. But no sooner do you see this, and you're all standing there, and you're looking at these amazing hieroglyphics on the wall, that there is a snapping sound, and suddenly the crew outside begins to yell and in alarm, and there's more snapping sounds and a grinding sound, and suddenly, with a huge thunderous boom, the giant slab comes crashing down and seals you inside, and everything is black.
I told that boy Sing to
Wait, what?
I rush back to where the slab has fallen and shout through it. Can you hear me out there?
Go ahead and do a listen roll.
I was afraid of this.
I don't hear any response, apparently.
Okay. You can hear muffled noises, probably crew people yelling.
So when they open this, do we see them lift it up?
I'm sorry?
But when they actually opened the doorway to go into the steps, did we see them lift up a slab, or is it an entirely new slab that's fallen down?
Yes, it was a big, gigantic slab that covered the door. They'd hoisted it up on pulleys, but apparently the rope, and they misjudged the strength, and it's all comes crashing down.
Either that, or
I got matches in inventory, so I'm gonna pull out some matches and I'm gonna light one.
Okay, match does not give you very much light.
I've got 4 candles.
Yeah, I'm
Here, I will hold out my light for you to light your candle with.
All right.
Pulling out my flashlight.
Nope.
That works too.
You didn't have your flashlight with you.
Hmm?
No
Wait,
flashlight.
what? Match. From your past experience, the candles that you have, the candle will only burn for about an hour.
How many candles do we have? I have 4.
You have 4.
4 between us.
Just for it gives off enough light that you can see a little bit around you.
Well, you know they'll be working hard at getting that slab up. If they know it's good for them. They'll have us out of here before we know it, guys.
It's like, what to get paid?
Yeah.
So if
Let's
they
not
haven't
panic, old
freaked out
chaps.
yet,
And when I say that, I emphatically bang on the wall with the crowbar, hoping that they can at least respond by banging back. I listen for a reply.
All right. Go ahead and do a listen roll.
Just made it.
How long did it take them to actually lift it last time?
Well, once they had it in the pulley system, it took them about a minute and a half to lift it up high enough to where you could get in. However, now if their makeshift pulley system broke, they're going to have to construct something new, something stronger. So it's going to take a while.
How much rope do we have left in the camp?
In the camp itself? Oh, you're not sure. I'm sorry, you had done a listen roll.
Yeah.
You can hear murmuring on the other side. You're not sure, but it almost sounds like laughter.
Please set the alarms. They are competent and they are fully prepared for dealing with accidents of this nature.
let's hope so. I'm taking an assessment of the situation here.
The corridor that you're in is about 15 feet wide and maybe about 30 or 40 feet deep. And there is a wall at the opposite end. You can barely see it. You can still see the furniture that's there. And of course, you can see the hieroglyphics.
Okay, let's not panic, gents.
I'm gonna take notes.
Mr. Turtle, is it possible to translate these hieroglyphs?
That's what I'm working on, my friend.
Hmm?
So do I see anything relevant?
Why don't you do a hieroglyphics roll?
40. Made it.
Okay. What you're seeing is kind of a narrative. It's kind of there's pictures, there's illustrations, and there's hieroglyphics. And it's telling you about the life of a pharaoh. The pictograms are strange. It's almost as if it's saying that this particular pharaoh had godlike powers, and that he ruled over his people rather violently, and that if they crossed him in any way, he destroyed them. He destroyed his enemies. It sounds more gruesome than maybe it is. It might just be one of those sort of fluff pieces that, the king conquers all that are opposed to him. Why don't you do a spot hidden roll as well, Kim?
Okay. No, that's a nope. That is a no.
Let's see. Archaeologist, why don't you do a spot hidden as well?
89. No, I should be looking at the wall.
You guys are really
You're staring over my shoulder.
unnerved by being sealed in the dark. All right, so what would you like?
I am having a great time with these walls. I don't. The rest of you can just fret all you want. I'm having a great time with these walls.
I'm going to continue to look around, make sure nothing else is going wrong in here, and then help the chief here in maybe trying to contact people outside.
Okay, Vince, go ahead and do a spot hidden roll.
Nope, 72 didn't make it.
This is gonna be one of those games. All right.
TPK. TPK.
What's equipped?
You make your way back over to the door, and now you guys can't really get far enough away from each other without walking into the darkness. So, who's got the candle?
Dun, dun, dun.
I have the candle.
Okay.
What tools do we have with us? I have a trowel. Is there any? Somebody mentioned a crowbar. Do we have any other tools?
I hold up a
Spade.
mallet. As well.
That's it. No spades or digging equipment. Well, that's
I got a pen.
Letting to be sealed inside. It is the rest of the equipment, of course, is outside the tomb.
okay. Well, with my trowel, we could dig our way out. I say we. So here, if you could dig our way out, we could watch and decipher the hieroglyphs.
I am ready to begin when you are.
The ground is made out of rock.
But it will take a while.
Why don't you do those of you who've looked down at the ground, why don't you do a spot hidden?
I see rock.
Yeah, made it.
Barely made it.
Those of you who made it, you notice now there's actually a fairly large amount of limestone chips, as if something had been cleared out of this passage, like the passage itself had at one time been kind of packed with rubble and chips, and that somebody had then removed it. It's odd. Kim, you're still looking at the wall. Why don't you go ahead and do another spot hidden for me?
Okay. Do it. No, still no.
You're fascinated by the
I
hieroglyphics.
When my brother
cartouche!
opens,
A cartouche, guys! A cartouche!
when my brother opens Tutankhamun's tomb, it took them 3 days to dig the sand out from the entrance. I don't recall our crew spending any time digging out sand or debris from the entrance of this this tomb. So yeah, that is correct, isn't it?
Correct. You had to dig down to get to the slab, but you didn't dig anything out once. So you've just now opened up the tomb, so.
Okay, nobody move. Let's look for footprints. So we know what size feet we are, and look for disturbances in the ground where we've been standing, where we've been walking, trying to see if there's any other footprints.
It's still a rock floor, so.
But with several thousand years of dust,
dust.
is there any dust?
All right.
When he suggests that, I look too. Is it a spot hidden?
53. Yeah, I got 53.
Nothing that you can really see, but the dust layer isn't that thick. It's been a long time. Once it's sealed up, there's not that much dust. Just what dust was in the passageway. And actually you've also kicked up a lot of dust when that door fell. Yeah. So the air is a little bit difficult right now with the dust.
Take another look for hazards in the room. Make sure there's nothing else that's going to come and slam on us.
Well, Vince, as you look around in the passage, you look over at the hieroglyphs, and there are some definite places where the hieroglyphs are faded and chipped off the wall, and you can see cracks running all along the walls and up into the ceiling. Go ahead and do a spot hidden for me.
Missed.
Okay. Well, you're not really an engineer, but it looks like this could be a little unstable. You wouldn't want to go banging too much on the walls. It might bring the whole thing down. You don't know, but it doesn't look that safe.
Hey, folks, just be careful. I'm noticing some cracks in the walls here, and it's not looking pretty good.
About this time, you also notice, as you guys are all staring at the cracks, that along the passageway there are actually some places that look like holes. They're not round holes; they're crack holes, but they're holes in the plaster, and it looks like it's a void beyond them. It's dark beyond them. There's no wall.
Put the candle close to the crack and see if you can see anything through the crack with the candle.
There's some holes that are odd shaped and about like that size, and there's definitely a void there. The plaster is kind of thin right there. It's got hieroglyphics painted over it, but it's definitely
Like a
there's
false
something
wall.
there. Yeah.
Using the trowel, see if I can prise off some of the plaster gently.
Okay.
As he does that, I'm concerned about the stability, so I look to see, since I have some experience supervising breaking things open, just how unstable does this all appear? Is there likely to be a problem because he's digging open the wall?
Well, the spot where he's digging seems to be thin. It doesn't look like it would have been a support there anyway. And what, in fact, you uncover is a square, just about like that, behind the plaster. And there is something laying inside. It looks like the pit is maybe 2 feet deep and just square, but there's something mounded, something laying right there inside the...
Without thinking, I'm going to put my hand straight in and
Wait.
pick it up.
I try to reach out
What's going
to
on?
stop him from just sticking his hand in the hole.
Well, go ahead and do a luck roll.
Who? Him or me or both?
Him.
Okay.
Wait.
Miss.
13.
Okay. Before Musa can grab your arm, you feel something that feels like old parchment or cloth. An odd shape. It feels very dry to your touch. Your guess, only because you are an archaeologist, is like mummy wrappings.
Oh, I found something. Bring him. Oh, I've got
Really?
a candle in my hand. Put my candle closer to the hole to see if I can illuminate what's down there. Even if it means putting the candle slowly in the hole to see if I can see.
The hole, as I say, is only about 2 feet deep, and it's square and not very big. The object there looks like something has been mummified, and you can see there's a glint of something farther in, like it's a little body with something there. Oh, do an archaeology
Use
roll
this.
for me.
I hand him the crowbar, hoping that he won't stick his hand in the hole any deeper. Or I try to hand him the crowbar.
I got half.
Oh, okay. Archaeology. You suddenly it dawns on you that that oftentimes they mummified animals and put them in tombs to accompany the pharaoh into the next life. From the general size, it's probably either a cat or a dog.
Okay.
That's the glint of gold in there is probably a little mask that's on it.
I'm going to slowly bring it out.
Okay. It is, in fact, once you start to bring it out, and it's very delicate, it's a dog. It's got a dog.
Are there any hieroglyphs on the? Is there any marking? There's no markings.
No. But there is, ornate sort of painting on the little mask. The little mask looks like it's made out of clay with gold on it, gold paint.
We'll take that for later and place it back in, but not all the way in.
Okay. What else? What else you guys want to do? Now, you guys haven't walked down to the other end yet, or the furniture or whatever you saw was there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have a look at this gold table and.
Now, once again, you all have to go, or because you can't have a candle.
Let's say, chaps, why don't we we'll let the guys outside do what they're doing. I'm sure they'll get us out of here soon enough. In the meantime, we might as well see what we can find. That's a damn good start in there.
I agree.
See what else is in here.
I'd like to get a better look at the rest of the chamber here. Just not feeling good about this place.
Am I right in thinking that Zohir's the only one that heard them laughing.
Yeah, he had his ear pressed up against you.
Right,
really
we can
trying
hear
to
that.
hear
Okay.
it.
No problem. Yeah, it's a good idea. We should go down and investigate the rest of the tomb.
Right.
Stephen, have we got any idea whose tomb this is? From the hieroglyphs?
Have I found a cartouche yet?
No.
Can you see the name on the cartouche?
No, there's no cartouche.
I haven't found any pharaoh's name yet.
Nope.
Like
And
in the
the
text
thing
anyway?
is that the more you look at the hieroglyphs and the more you look at the wall, the more sort of disturbing the story becomes. Once again do a hieroglyph, and tell me how well you do. Do you do a regular or a half or an extreme?
61, which is I made it by 9.
Okay,
So
so just a
regular.
regular pass. It seems that basically that this pharaoh was gathering people to himself, and the ones that followed him were more or less kept safe, but the ones who didn't were destroyed. It's atypical for what you usually see on these sort of tombs. It doesn't look like he's destroying other cultures, like the Nubians or the Romans. It's definitely his own people.
He's not a nice character, gentlemen.
Anyways,
Stephen, does it say how he destroyed them, or just destroyed them?
it seems to be that he has magical powers. He's shooting out rays of energy at them, or it might just be a misinterpretation of what the picture is saying. Down farther in the passage, once you move in that direction, there is a table. It's rather ornate. It's made of gold. However, it's not in great condition. It looks like the years have gotten to it. The wood is rotted. It's starting to fall apart. It would be, if you picked it up and tried to move it, it would just fall apart into pieces. Setting next to it is a large chest. I'd say it's at least a foot and a half by a foot and a half by about 3 feet long. It's clad in gold, and you can tell that it has been dragged. Now, right behind it is an archway, but the archway has been sealed up, except that someone has broken a hole in it down near the ground on the right-hand side. You would have to crouch down and crawl through. But you were talking earlier about grave robbers. This definitely looks like a grave robber got in here somehow and tried to get through that hole and had dragged this stuff out with him. Where he is.
Makes sense.
Is there a lock on the case, on the box?
There's not.
Or is it?
Sense.
There's not. I say, Wainwright, would you like to open the box with me?
I would not do that, especially in an enclosed area like this. We don't know what's inside the box, and I'm sure our chief here can back me up on this. We don't need like any kind of anything like that kicking up in this enclosed space.
Yes, please be careful, gentlemen. There will be time for opening these things once the tomb is open again.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to do the treasure thing later. Right now, it's we need to be concerned for our lives.
One thing you know for sure is that the box would be worth a fortune.
Can I appraise it?
Sure. Well, that's what your appraisal would be. Is that it's fabulously.
Yeah.
It would be to a collector it would be worth a lot. It's fairly large. I doubt if that is in fact gold, then it would take a couple of you to lift it. There's designs on it, but there doesn't seem to be any particular hieroglyphics on it.
Are there hinges?
Yes.
There's no lock, but it's hinges.
from an archaeological point of view, it could be filled with treasure, or it could be filled with more dead animals. You know,
I'm going to tap it gently
To an
with
archaeologist,
my
the dead
hand.
animal is just as valuable as gold.
Yes.
it's
Ginger.
tapping it doesn't do much. It's a big heavy thing.
And it feels solid. It doesn't feel, because obviously the table you said that was
Right. No, this feels quite solid. It's in good condition. Better than much better than the table.
I'm tempted to have a look inside, but
Well,
also
gents,
tempted to go.
I'd wait.
This is why we're down here, though. Come on, gents.
But we're
We've
in
nothing else
space.
to do.
We're in close space here. It's not. I don't want to die from poison gas. And that can happen.
Ultimately, it's Wainwright's baby. So
It's health and safety gone mad. I think I'm going to open the box, Wainwright. I think that makes perfect
I'm
sense.
with you. Let's see what's in here.
I'm backing away.
I am too.
I'm backing away as I say, please wait. They will surely open the tomb
Yes,
again.
fine. That's fine. That's fine. I understand what you're saying. I'm going to open the box.
all right. As you open the box,
Oh yeah.
there's no knife, there's no gas. It just basically creaks open. Now it's heavy. The lid on it itself is very heavy. So it takes you a little bit of effort to lift it up. But when you look inside, it's almost completely empty. At the most you can see in the bottom are a couple of like glass beads, which from an archaeological point of view, glass was actually more invaluable to them than gold, because they didn't have it. They had to get it from fulgurites, from lightning strikes on the beach.
Oh yeah. Oh, and this is desert glass.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's empty. Still, the box itself would be worth a fabulous fortune.
Pick up one of the pieces of desert glass and examine it.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. It's kind of green.
Desert glass. And there's nothing else. There's no hidden part. There's no hidden. Doesn't look as though there's a hidden base.
It doesn't seem
to
like
the,
it.
Interesting. Desert glass.
About now, you can distantly hear someone banging on the stone door back there, like the crew is trying to do something. They're working on it. But at the same time, from the cracks in the ceiling and the cracks in the walls, you see dust starting to fall in. And
Oh, that's not good at all. That's not good.
Do I think it's going to collapse on us? Can I estimate that based on my experience with opening?
it certainly seems like it could.
All right, I rush back to the blocked door, and I shout, "Stop! It may collapse!" And as loud as I possibly can.
Okay. You don't know whether they heard you or not. But
is there more banging and more falling of dust?
yeah, it seems like they're continuing in what they're doing. And yes, the little bits of dust are wafting down.
So you said there was an opening under that archway.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you like kind of smell the air, does it smell fresher or more stale?
Smells the same as the
Under
rest.
there?
Oh, put the candle close to the hole to see if there's any wind blowing the candle from below.
There is not. And when you put the candle, do you actually get down on your hands and knees when you put the candle there, or do you just lean over?
I'll get down because it's quite low, so I'll get down on my hands and knees and actually put the candle really low.
When you do that, you can see that the room beyond is stuffed with furniture and stuff. Stuffed with stuff.
I say, Wainwright, come and have a look at this.
Say, old chap. Looks like we've struck gold.
Looks like
Fortune of glory.
Looks like when Howard Carter opened up Tutankhamun's tomb. There's gold in there.
Wonderful.
Well, that was so last year.
2 years ago. Yeah.
That was so 2 years ago. This could beat little Howard's record. I say.
Indeed.
Where's his crowbar?
I had to head over that way, but instead of just handing him the crowbar, I look at him sternly and say, "You will have to live to enjoy your fame. What do you need done here?"
Yes, all very good. That's all very good, man. But could I have the crowbar, please?
Is the hole big enough for us to crawl through?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was big enough for him to pull the table through, but you'll have to crouch down to get through it.
I hand him the crowbar, but I say, "Please let me help when you can. I want to do my job and survive to be paid. And make you famous."
Okay, I'm going to hand you the.
Don't you
I want to hear you get out alive.
I'm going to hand you the candle. So here.
Okay.
I take the
I'm going
candle.
to with the crowbar, and get down on my hands and knees and shimmy through the hole.
Okay.
I'm right behind you.
It's pitch dark on the other side, except for the light coming through the hole.
Okay. And then if I want to get through, so here, pass me that candle. Put my hand under.
I pass him the candle.
And as you look around, the room is filled with all sorts of amazing things. There are mostly furniture of sorts, chairs and tables and couches, and there's even a boat over on the side wall. The room
Wainwright, get in here. You have to see this.
The room
yeah.
is from your perspective, the room opens up on either side, and it's maybe about 20 feet deep and maybe about 20 feet on each side of you, so maybe 40 feet wide, and you're right in the middle of the wall on the south end. Does that make sense? You're like, you've come up the passage and you are on the bottom of this rectangular room. You can see two things. One is, well, you can see a lot of things. There's a lot of clutter, a lot of furniture. You can see that on the east wall, there are two large statues, and in the middle of it is another huge stone slab that's blocking an archway. On the wall directly across you, the north wall, over near the west corner, there is an archway, and that archway is open, leading into another room. From your knowledge of Egyptian tombs, you are in like an antechamber.
Mm-hmm.
And most likely the one on the east, that is the actual tomb itself, the burial chamber.
Excellent. Wainwright, get in here. Get in here, man. Come and see this. This is spectacular.
I'll drop down. On my way. Come on, guys. We need to check this out.
Coming in right behind Wainwright.
Then I'll
Right.
come in next.
So this room is not quite as elaborate on the walls and ceiling, but there, as I say, there's a lot of stuff.
Is there
what
room
would
to
you
walk
like to
around
do?
in?
The two most prominent, yes, there's room to walk around. There's sort of little passageways. Go ahead and archaeologist, why don't you do a spot hidden for me?
56.
Is that a pass?
This is regular, but yeah,
Okay,
regular pass.
regular pass. There's something you noticed that's rather odd. Normally, all of these things in here, if they were untouched, they should be stacked nice and neatly, well organized. But there's a strong evidence that something was moving through this chamber rather recklessly. And if you can't really guess a direction, but it was definitely It was definitely moving through here with disregard for things that it might be knocking over in the process.
Okay, the chest was dragged through.
Yes.
Is there evidence where this was dragged from, the chest?
It's hard to tell in here because now all of your feet have
Yeah. I should have checked it.
scuffed with the floor. The floor is still, everything is dusty, but it's all pretty free of dust. There's not much in here.
What are the two statues surrounding the stab look like?
The statues are clad in gold, and they each have an animal face on them. One of them is a crocodile, and
Set.
the other one is, let's see. I had this marked. Where is it? One of them is a crocodile, and the other one is another animal. Do you go up and examine them?
Yes.
All right. Do a spot hidden for me.
%5.
Really good.
Yeah.
All right. You go up and you're looking at the workmanship, and it's exquisite, and you're looking at it, and it suddenly hits you that the first thing that hits you is there's something very different about these statues. And in that same moment, you suddenly realize they're people. They're actual men who have been mummified. There is a spike that is sticking up out of the base, and they have been impaled on these spikes and then dressed like statues. So I need you to do a sanity roll.
What's my sanity? 40. 30. 10% under.
All right. Where is it? You lose 1 point of damage.
1 point of damage.
An alligator and a jackal. That's what it was. I thought it was a jackal.
Jackal. So I lose 1 point of damage, not 1 point of sanity.
1 point sanity damage.
Yep. Okay.
Mental damage.
Hey, Professor, what you seeing over there?
Oh, this isn't good.
Well, you hear him gasp. Yeah.
I'm going to go over and see what's going on with the professor.
Yeah,
These
I
aren't
rush over
statues.
when the professor sounds upset.
These aren't statues, man. These are people with crocodile heads and a jackal head sewn on.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you guys can do sanity rolls. Now that he said it out loud, you can all do sanity.
You say all of us can do sand?
Yeah, because it's gruesome.
Damn.
They've literally had these
Hard
spikes
on that
shut.
one.
They've
I'm good.
been dropped butt first onto these spikes.
I'm not sure how badly I failed. If a 95 is
That's not
significantly
quite
worse
critical, but
than a 90. Yeah, it's getting up there. My sanity was 55 before.
You do a 1d2. So you roll a 6-sided dice and then divide it.
Oh, I have that handy.
All right. Looking
Grief.
at the slab itself that's in the middle, it's big, and you're actually surprised because there doesn't seem to be any way of moving it. It certainly couldn't be moved by people. There's no room in here to move. I mean, you could theoretically slide it to the side, but it must weigh, 5 tons.
But is this unusual for Sobek and Anubis to guard the entrance to a grave? The crocodiles, Sobek. or representation of Sobek. Stephen, we've seen a number of graves sites. Is this unusual? Obviously, we know that the jackal is clearly the guide to the dead, and if Sobek's the eater of sinners, this is not a good.
Well, we've certainly seen our share of murals with these two fine gentlemen on it. And it seems to be a fairly common theme in tombs, wouldn't you say?
But to have them together guarding, I thought the
Maybe we're dealing with a sinner. That's what the narrative seems to be indicated.
There's something else that sort of strikes you as odd, and that's that the Egyptians had great reverence for their gods, and when they made statues, they gave them gold and there's a great deal of respect. To construct these out of dead bodies seems almost sacrilegious.
Stephen, I'm going to examine Anubis. Would you go and examine Crocodile to see if we can tell if these were laid down post the creation of the tomb, or whilst the tomb was being created? Is this a new thing or an early thing? Is it possible to tell that? So we're trying to establish whether these was when they created the tomb, they were there, or whether they were put in afterwards to kind of protect.
Well, upon examining, you almost get the impression that they were mummified after they were tossed on the spikes. So they were murdered first and then mummified in this way. You can tell, too, that the masks probably could come off. You'd have to lift them off.
So, Professor, this isn't... Is this right? This doesn't seem right.
Not exactly what I'd call normal.
Yeah. I've never heard of this before.
You and I both know that they had a habit of killing their architects so that they couldn't spill their secrets. Maybe this is the architect here. Or maybe one of these is the architect.
Professor Turlow.
Waste.
Do a spot hidden for me.
Okay. 90. No.
My God, woman, are you ever going to get a good roll? Throw those dice out and get new ones.
I'm going to switch dice.
So we have a tomb that has got an elaborate amount of material for the afterlife, the boat to travel onwards, yet guarding the actual tomb is Anubis, which is the with his scales, and the Sin Eater. I'm not sure that actually seems as normal as it could.
Well, how many of these have been excavated? There could be thousands of tombs just like this one. We don't know.
Well,
it's such a new science. It
is. I mean, Tutankhamun's the only one that actually had a body in that was hadn't had grave robbers. So I suspect
Wainwright, do a spot hidden for me, because you're looking around at all this.
42, that is... That's a pass, just...
As you're standing there listening to them, looking at all of this stuff, and you're looking over at this Gruesome. These two statues. You find yourself looking at the big slab covering the burial room, and there are definitely symbols that are carved into the rock. They're light, and they're a slightly different color, but they don't look like hieroglyphics that you've ever seen. Granted, you don't read them, but they just don't look like hieroglyphics.
I say, Professor, come and have a look at this. It doesn't look like hieroglyphics to me. Do you recognize these symbols?
I've got occults.
Sure. Roll occult.
I got hieroglyphs, so call me over there.
15%. 12%.
Excellent.
So yeah, 3 under.
And Professor, you have a cult?
Me? Yes, I do, actually.
Why don't you go ahead and roll too?
88. Damn it.
Well,
Are you even looking at them, man?
One more set of dice to try.
While they're all doing this, I'm going to grab Zoe here and start looking around. Make sure the place is secure. Check the quality of the ceiling and stuff. See if we don't have any more
ceiling looks a little better in here, but you're still stuck with only the one candle burning. So
I'll just go along with him, and if he's checking the walls and the ceiling, I'll check the floor for unevenness. I still think maybe there are things in here that are not safe.
Well, there's a lot of because of all the furniture. There's a lot of clutter in here. In order to really examine this room thoroughly, you would have to remove all the furniture. I mean, it's up against the walls and almost all the way to the ceiling.
Touching things is the exact opposite of what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah, well, we're not here for detailed. We're just making sure that there's nothing obviously problematic here.
This room looks better constructed than that passageway, or the passageway's taken more damage over time. As you guys are looking at the stone slab, you realize that some of these symbols are definitely occult symbols, symbols of like almost like ward symbols. They give you the impression of something very old, maybe even things that you've glimpsed in a few museums that were like magical spells of warding, or like the proverbial "don't open" or "a curse will fall on you," that sort of stuff.
Are you sure you can't read, Stephen? Clearly this is an ornate occult symbol for a ward of some description.
You've got me, old boy.
It's very odd. Very odd. Do these statues have weapons, spears, or anything?
Yes. Actually, I forgot to say that. One of them is holding a ceremonial sort of battle axe. And the other one is holding a kobesh, which is like a sword that goes out, and then it's got the hook on it. Yeah. They're both in relatively good condition.
Are they sewn to the hands, or
no,
are they
they're
just
not.
resting? No.
Yeah. It's very likely that if you fiddle with them, they'll probably fall out of their hands.
Or the hands could fall off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Does it look as though this the stone slab has been moved, or attempted to be moved? We know there's been a grave robber in here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
Probably
it.
didn't get very far.
I
Well,
say,
there is
I
a-
say so here. Sorry.
There is another door leading out. It's not a door. There's an
Archway.
archway leading out on the northwest side of the room.
Doesn't smell like, apart from these, obviously these two dead guys, doesn't smell like there's any other decaying.
Just smells musty. Yeah.
Just musty.
Can we check that archway that you just mentioned that's open to see whether or not it looks like it could fall in? Is it maybe rigged in some way? I just keep expecting something to be trapped. So.
Sure. If you are standing near the statues, which is near the burial chamber door, that other archway is about 35 feet away. So you have to tell me what you're going to do with the candle.
Well, I'm with Vince, so I say,
Yes.
Shall we check the other arch?
As far as we can get into with the light here, yeah, let's have a look.
Well, don't they have the light over by the door?
We do. So here, I'll come to you.
And you got
before
4
we
candles.
move this.
And I still got
Doesn't Vince have a candle already? Right,
Do
there
you
are
want
5
a
of us
chance
and
another
4
candle?
candles. I'm the only one with no
I
candle.
think we're
So
going
I'm
to
with
need. I think
Vince.
we're going to need at least one more candle here, so that me and Zoe here can have a look around.
Okay, I'm going to get another candle out of my pack and light it. So we now have.
So now you have 2 candles lit.
Yep.
All right. All right. So you guys head over to that archway.
Yeah.
You can see that the archway opens up immediately into a much smaller room. The room is only about 20 feet deep and about 25 feet long. It's far less cluttered, but on the east side of the room is an altar set up, and there is a large gold object standing up on the altar. There are a few pieces of other kinds of furniture in here that might be ceremonial, and there are murals on all the walls. And I'm sorry, the west wall is honeycombed with a whole bunch of little pockets, like every couple of inches, maybe every 5 inches or so, every few centimeters, there is a little pocket about yay big in the wall.
And how's the arch itself? How's the arch itself looking?
Arch looks pretty stable.
So you think it's good there?
It looks stable.
Okay, that's all I'm concerned about right now. Keeping this place stable, keeping us safe.
I'm going to assume that you guys haven't gone in that room. You just glanced.
No,
that is exactly right. We are on this side of the arch.
Okay. It looks it makes you feel like you're looking into a chapel or a shrine of some sort in that one short instant when you look in. All right.
Wow.
What are the rest of you going to do?
So, wait, unless we actually move this slab, might be worth having a wander around the rest of the vestibule.
I agree. Yeah. What have you gents found over there then?
I don't know.
Another pagan shrine. The arch is stable.
Actually, yeah, it does look like a shrine now that you mention it.
Oh,
They usually have shrines in these tombs.
Let's go and have a look at that.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
So you wend your way over to it around the furniture, and you get to the archway, and you look inside. And as I said, there's a mural on the far wall. There's little pockets in the wall on the west side, and there is an altar on the east side.
Hmm.
You guys go in?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going in.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Let's be careful.
As soon as you begin to enter the room, you realize that there is something lying on the ground in front of the altar. And whatever it is, it seems to have cloth. There seems to be cloth of different kinds. They don't look like they're ancient cloth either, like maybe clothing of some sort.
Hold up.
Wainwright, I think that's the grave robber.
Looks like the fellow that beat us here. Yes.
As you step closer, that's definitely what it is. It is a desiccated skeleton with clothes on that look fairly modern, although they're eaten away and falling apart in rags. There's also a little satchel there next to him.
Okay, I'm not liking this at all. What the heck happened to this guy?
It's too it's too curious not to. I'm going to lean down and
whatever happened here? Be careful.
Using Zohir's crowbar, which I think I still have, I'm going to open up the flap of the satchel.
Of the satchel?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks very similar to the kind of satchel that you would carry as an archaeologist. It looks like there's a couple of things inside, maybe a trowel, maybe a flask of some sort. Now this guy is kind of in a heap on the ground. If you want to look at him more closely, you'll have to do something about that.
Before we do that, maybe we have a look around the rest of the room.
Okay.
You see there's cubby holes, so little pockets.
Right. Now that you're actually inside the room, to be more precise, there's a large altar on the east side. There are the little cubbies on the west side. On the north side, there is a mural that seems to be depicting the slaughter of hundreds and hundreds of people. And when you turn around and look behind you at the wall that you came through, where the archway is, there is an enormous pharaoh standing in the center, in the full headgear and all of that, except the face is black, and he holds in one hand the scales, and there is a heart on one side of the scales, and on the other side is a heap of dead animals, and kneeling at his feet is what looks like a man with a wolf's head. Seems to be like worshiping him or something.
That's rather odd.
The altar. I should say the altar because this is obvious. There is a large. There's a large golden. Yeah, that's weird. There's a large golden object on the altar. It is a Kruxansada, an Ankh, but it's upside down, and there are small black tendrils that seem to be coming out of it, radiating out in all directions. Now, the thing is that you don't think they're moving, but with the candlelight in the room and the play of the flicker of the candle, it almost looks as if the tendrils are moving on this large Ankh.
Whoa!
So the mural, on the wall, that shows Anubis kneeling at a black-faced pharaoh.
Well, it doesn't look like Anubis.
You said a wolf's head, right?
A wolf's head.
Not a jackal?
No.
It doesn't look like a jackal. It doesn't look traditionally like Anubis.
Good, okay. Which one had the dog? Which had the wolf head? But either way,
Edgar, did they have wolves in ancient Egypt?
Well, it's what it looks.
Oh, yeah. Out of character. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that's not a god. That's a pharaoh that the god is worshipping, which is
Correct.
very odd. And
Do
the
a
upside
do a,
down
do a spot hidden.
spot hidden.
Pharaoh thought he was God. Pagans.
Yeah, 1 under 64.
I don't know what this is, but it is crazy. It's crazier than most of the Egyptian stuff I've seen.
You suddenly realize that the heart is being weighed against a bunch of dead animals, but the dead animals are not animals. They're the gods of Egypt. With their
That's really odd because tradition is a flower. It's a feather. They weigh the heart against a feather. So, but the ankh isn't that the Egyptian word for truth? So an upside down
life.
Life. So an upside down one is death. This is all quite interesting, really. So what do we actually have? We have a pharaoh who was not a nice chap. We have his tomb. We have the Anubis, the god, and Sobek guarding his tomb. And in here we appear to have the pharaoh judging the gods. Seems
Maybe he
above
realized
himself,
their gods were dead.
Yeah, but Professor Carter, yeah, I don't know half this stuff that's going around here, but could this be like some kind of fringe sort of thing, like some people bucking against the system, with kind of anti-priesthood sort of thing, kind of like heretics, I guess you could say. I mean, not that I know anything, but
as a character, do we know anything about the Black Pharaoh and is it Kefron Ra?
Nephron Ka.
Nephron Ka.
No, you don't have any Cthulhu mythos. So.
Okay. So cubby holes. What's in the cubby holes?
Go over to the cubby holes. Now you've got something even weirder. In each little cubby hole is a little figurine. Looks like a person, carved out of some sort of black stone, but decorated with gold. And each little cubby hole has a little man in it, and each little man is in the posture of worshiping. But they're all about that big.
And they're made of black glass.
Out of some kind of rock. Go ahead and do a archaeology roll. This is so heavy on the archaeology, but okay.
I got 10%, which is
very good.
An extreme.
Yeah,
14.
You believe that the little figurines are called Shabati. They're statuettes, and they're fairly common in funeral tombs. These are the slaves that the person who's died takes into the afterlife to serve him.
Yeah. But none of that's out of the ordinary. The upside down anchors.
Not really. No.
Okay.
Now, as you're standing there and you're still sort of looking around. Actually, everybody do a spot hidden.
Oh, 3. I made one for once.
Yep.
critical lot 1.
No.
Just made it.
I just have a normal success.
Soldier, you got the odd
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kim, you finally get a good roll. As they're all looking at the gold and the archaeology and that, you look down at the body, and you realize two things: that this guy's chest and head have been crushed by something. And when you sort of lean down and look closer, you realize that there are tooth marks on the bones, as if something ripped the flesh off and left its teeth marks on the body.
I'm going to voluntarily take a sanity for that because that's just totally. Professors, you may have a problem.
What do you sound?
Yeah, something big and toothy got a hold of this guy here, like crocodile or something like that. Because this guy looks like he's not only been crushed but gnawed upon.
If grave robbers got into maybe animals.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But this is some animal. This is a big animal. This is something we're talking at least a crocodile, if not something else.
I say, McBaron, do you think it might be an idea to pop over to these statues and collect that sword and spear?
Might not be a bad idea. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Take this candle.
Yeah, taking the candle.
Yeah, since I've been relieved of my crowbar, I go over to collect the sword.
Right.
By the way, have there been any hieroglyphs that I've been able to get at during this time?
Some of them, and they're all in praise of the faceless God. They're disturbing.
They actually name a faceless god.
It doesn't have a cartouche of any kind.
Right.
So you're not really sure. There's no name given. But as you are looking around, you also look down at the crushed body, and you're quite disturbed by it. You're disturbed by the altar. There's something about that unk that's just wrong. It's just wrong with everything that you've ever seen before in something like that. Wainwright.
Did you say that the unk was on the altar?
It's on the altar, yeah, and it's fairly large. It's nearly 2 feet tall, and it's uncanny the way it looks, almost like it's moving. You're sure that it's just the candlelight, but it's a very bizarre optical illusion that's being created there. Wainwright, as you're standing there, I'm sorry. What did you say, Kim?
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. I said, could it be turned right side up?
No, it would probably topple over. It's got a big base on it.
I'll be quiet now.
All right, Wainwright, as you're standing there, you look down and you see that tucked in that pack, along with a trowel and what looks like maybe a water flask, there's a little journal.
I'm gonna grab the journal out and have a little flick through.
Okay. You can see that it was the property of and written by somebody named Sasha Karner. And as you glance at it, there's a couple of passages that seem significant.
Say, chaps, look at what I found here. So, 7th of August, 1916. Word has reached us of fierce fighting north, close to the Suez Canal. Our men are frightened enough as it is, without the fear of being killed in a crossfire. Their superstitious beliefs have delayed the dig more than once, and I do not care for any further delay. We dig tirelessly through the loose sand and rock. We are close. 3rd of September, 1916. Today was glorious. We have found the entrance. Removing the doorway was difficult, but we created a pulley system that allowed us entry. More work greets us inside. Limestone chips have clogged the entirety of the tunnel. I've halted the removal of the stones until I have surveyed the structure and documented what we have learned thus far. Sutton thinks my meticulous records are unnecessary and time-consuming. 1st of December, 1916. Finally, the tunnel is now clear. Some of the workers have taken a great interest in the damaged hieroglyphs in the passageway. Today we remove the last of the stone chips and explore. The stonework looks unstable. It may be too risky to use the explosives. 3rd of December, 1916. Sutton is dead. The local labourer attacked us and broke his neck when he refused to be forced inside the tomb. Beware the children of the Sphinx. I plan on waiting a couple of hours in the hope they have gone. I'll gather some of the jewelry and then make my escape. The place will not be my. Oh, I can't read that last line actually.
It says
This place will not be my.
This place will not be my tomb. I can hear noises. Something else is in here with me.
Allahu Akbar.
I'm pausing a moment and then looking to the professors there going, hey, wait a minute. Isn't this place supposed to be unopened?
Well, wait just a moment, because you left to go.
Okay. I didn't hear this.
Okay. No,
Okay,
that's,
no problem.
He wasn't reading loud enough. We only went as far as the. Oh, that's right. We're clear across the room,
I'll
aren't we?
backtrack on that then.
Right.
Okay.
You
H.
go. Vince, you go to collect those two weapons, and as
I'm with Vince actually. Because I went to get the sword, so
Okay.
I assumed we could hear him reading this clear across the chamber, but maybe he wasn't reading that loudly.
You
Okay,
could hear
so
it
we could
echoing.
hear what he said. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys are in front of those two statues, and in fact, their hands do kind of snap off when you get the weapons, but you've got them.
Okay.
Now, as you're standing there, all of a sudden, you hear a noise, and it sounds almost like something grinding, like stone grinding on stone or something. And in that instant, you are convinced that something is moving on the other side of that stone slab that's just inches away from you. There is definitely something moving. In fact, after a moment of this grinding noise, you suddenly hear a muffled sort of boom, as if something heavy has just been pushed off and landed
It must
on
be
the floor.
tripped.
So what do you guys do?
I'm grabbing Zoe here and running into the other room.
Yeah. Taking the sword, running with him away
Taking
from
the axe with me.
whatever the trapped area.
Oh,
Yeah.
running with a sword.
I'm gonna crawl back into the
Should we do a
tunnel.
dex roll? No, I won't do that to you. But you definitely hear something moving on the other side of that wall. Something big.
Whilst they're doing that, then I'm going to get the bottle of liquid that's in the satchel.
Okay. What do you do?
Is there any writing on it, or is it?
No, it's just it's like a leather. It's like a glass flask covered in leather.
Take the lid off and sniff it.
It smells like maybe rancid water.
Right.
It's been in there
Put
a
the
while.
lid back on.
In the process, you also notice that there is a stick of dynamite in the bottom of the satchel.
I'm going to put that in my pocket. I'm going to use sleight of hand. Attempt to use sleight of hand and put that in my pocket.
Okay.
Oh no! It's 9%.
Okay, that's passed. What is your
10.
Okay, yeah, barely. You slip that into your pocket, nobody notices. I thought maybe you could hold it up to the candle flame and see if it still works.
Plan B.
All right. The other two rejoin you in this room, rather alarmed.
Shh, something's coming in. Hide. Find a place to hide.
Have the workers broken through?
No,
That's
no,
excellent news.
something else is coming in.
Whether we
Something else
took
is coming in.
whether we took
Hide.
the
We need
weapons,
to hide to see what's going on.
whether we took the
One at a-
weapons, it
calm down,
released
calm down.
some trap.
One at a time.
When
There's a
we
trap.
took the weapons, a trap on the other side of the stone, the slab, noise, movement.
Something's coming in here.
You're suddenly interrupted by a much louder sound, the sound of stone scraping on stone, and you're sure in that moment that monstrous stone slab in the other room is moving to the side.
Bloody hell, man! What have you done now?
I'm already making my way back to the original tunnel.
Yeah.
Screw this. I'm gonna take my chances with the workers.
Well, you're going to be walking in complete darkness because they have.
I'm okay with that.
Well,
okay with that.
if he goes that way, I don't want him to run off in the dark with no light. Well, who has the candle?
I
Vince.
mean, I do still have matches.
Who is Vince? Is Vince having the candle right now, or what? Who has the candle?
You guys tell
You
me
have
who
the
has
candle.
There's
I
two
have the
candles
candle.
now.
Okay, so
You have one with
then
candle.
Okay, great. So I go with the professor rather than let the professor run off in the darkness alone.
So here, I'll hold your sword while you go after him.
I look at him confused since I have two hands and head off after him with the candle and the sword.
You
right.
have to crawl.
As Musa, as you are following the professor back towards the passageway, you glance over at the stone slab with your candle, and you can definitely see that it's sliding to the side.
Stop it.
What do the rest of you guys do?
Hurry,
I
we
suggest
don't
you
know what
gentlemen join
other
me.
traps might have opened. We must go.
Okay, well,
Let's just jam something in front of the pillar so we cut the slab so it can't continue rolling.
I agree. Let's go do that. Going right there to keep the slab from opening up.
do an idea roll for me.
A what roll?
An idea roll. It's the same as intelligence.
Nope. 88.
Does it seem to me that we don't have anything that could stop something of that magnitude from moving?
That's what I was going to say. If there's something strong enough to move that stone, it's not going to be stopped by anything.
There's nothing that could stop it. Hurry. So
Right,
you
let's
don't
go.
have any
Gold,
sense.
gold is really soft, so
The stone is moving, so the professor and Musa have gotten back towards the passage coming in. The rest of you are still partly in the annex, the chapel. Musa and Professor both do an idea roll also.
I spend 4 luck to make it.
Okay. How about you, Professor?
who me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
got 39. We did.
Just as you get back to the passage, you realize that there is absolutely no place to hide in that passage. It's just a passage, an empty passage, with a stone slab at the other end that hopefully somebody's trying to get out of the way. The rest of you realize that there's actually quite a lot of places you can hide because there's furniture everywhere that you could climb under or behind or whatever.
I say, Wainwright, let's go and hide in the boat.
Marvelous idea. Marvelous idea. Let's just wait it out and see if anything comes through. I'm sure it's all just. I'm sure we're all just getting a little jumpy because we're stuck in here now. I'm sure this is nothing.
I'm sure it's just rats in the walls.
Absolutely.
Professor,
I'm
Musa,
fine with
probably
those
safest,
hiding-
turn around.
safest in the passage. No traps in passage.
Okay. Well, as you guys are in
go
your
back.
positions, some of you are hiding, some of you are almost in the passage. The door slides far enough open that you can hear something on the other side. It's grunting and it's making animal sort of noises. And what comes through the passage, the door, is what looks like a man, huge and muscular, but with the head of a wolf.
Nice.
By
And
Allah.
those of you who see it, do a sanity check.
Is he carrying a torch with him?
He's dressed in rags, but obviously
Made
at
it.
some point they were more.
Made fun. Extreme.
I failed.
If
I failed
you-
too.
If you see it, let's see. Sorry. I usually have a cheat sheet for all these things. If you see do your sanity roll. If you pass, take just 1 damage. However, if you see it, 1d6.
If you fail, 1d6.
If you fail, 1d6. Yeah. Sorry.
That would be a whole 6 for me.
Yeah, I just lost 6. Does it matter when you lose that much at once?
Oh yeah.
The 2 people with weapons have lost more than 5.
So yeah, I went from 53 down to 47 in one go.
All right. Let's do Musa first. Musa, you scream as loud as you can, and you run down the passage to the slab of stone and start banging on the stone to get out. Who else failed?
I failed.
Let's see.
Hurry up, you slugs! Get it open now!
You're all fired.
You go completely. You just freeze in absolute horror. You can barely breathe, and you're paralyzed, at least for 10 rounds.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else fail? Nope. Okay. So the thing stepping out hears Musa screaming down the passageway. Professor, what are you going to do? He just suddenly started screaming and ran right past you.
Well, has he still got his candle?
I don't think he would have his count. He just dropped it on the ground.
Do I still have the sword?
Do a luck roll.
I made it.
Okay, so you still have the sword, but you're not using the sword. You're just banging against the stone.
Probably banging against the stone with the sword.
Probably.
Hopefully with the hilt and not the blade.
The creature immediately hears the noise, and you see it sniff the air, and it immediately bounds towards the passageway, which it will arrive at in just a few seconds. Not even a few seconds, more like 1 second.
Do I hear it coming down the passageway?
You're completely mindless at this point. You're just screaming to get out. That's what happens when you loses that much. Okay.
The creature has to go through that small hole to get to him.
That's true. It immediately gets to that wall. Now, Professor, are you on the other side of that hole?
I'm thinking I was going to track back and try and find a place to hide.
Too late for that now.
So it was set the scene again. There was a passage. Was it in a room that I could flatten myself against a wall?
Yes, you could flatten yourself right against kind of like the corner opposite of where the hole was. And
okay, that's what I'm going to do then.
All right, so you flatten.
I'm going to clamp my hand over my mouth so no noise.
All right. As the creature gets to that blocked passage, it just almost effortlessly smashes through that wall.
Okay.
And it's heading straight for Musa.
While it's going for Musa, I'm going to sneak back into the room and find it next time.
All right, what are the rest of you doing?
Sorry, Musa.
Let me out! Let me out!
How wide was the passageway? I know how long it was, but how wide was it?
The passageway was about 15 feet wide.
15 feet wide. I'm going to climb out the boat, light the dynamite, and throw it up the passage when it looks like it's going to be a few seconds before it blows up.
Ooh. Okay.
But our man's through there.
So you're flinging it down to the end, huh?
Yeah. Your man.
And how are we supposed to get out?
There's no
Where did
way.
you get dynamite from?
He's already done it.
Oh, no.
All right. Everybody do a luck roll.
96.
Oh no!
What? Damn it! What is with my dice?
No, I failed that one.
Failed
Can I
the luck.
Can I spend
All right.
luck to make? So I got my luck's 40. I got
You can spend
41.
luck to
Can
make
I
it
spend a
luck,
luck point?
No, you can't spend luck points. To
Luck
make
point
it.
to give. Okay, I
Because
didn't
when you
make it
spend
by one.
When you spend one luck point to get your luck roll, then
I have to
you
make-
lose another luck
Yeah.
point.
3. Yeah.
All right.
So I failed by one.
Those of you who passed your luck roll, except for Musa, you're suddenly like, holy shit, that whole passage was going to come down anyway. And you sort of dive for cover. Those of you who didn't do it, when the ba-boom goes off, there's a huge crashing sound, and the passage and everything down there just comes completely crashing down, and there's dust and there's choking, and some of this roof in here starts to crumble, and you get hit by falling debris. So do 1d6 damage if you did not make your luck roll.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was that?
3.
Did you pass your luck or not?
I did not.
Then do 1d6 damage.
I just took 6 damage from falling rubble.
Okay, so
Oh,
you got
nice.
hit by a serious chunk of rock.
But I still
Freaking
have
die!
I still have 5 hit points left.
Okay, so now you're climbing
find my
around in the
dice.
pitch blackness. And what are you guys going to do? The passage is completely crushed. Hopefully whatever was in that passage at the time is crushed, including Musa. Sorry, Musa.
I only took 6.
No, but you died. You died of the blast, and you became a splatter just as the creature was about to eat you.
That's how it's done, see?
You're guaranteed a place in the afterlife?
God be praised.
So what else are you going to do?
Sorry, Musa.
I'm gonna go grab that Ankh.
Okay.
He had his sword. I'm going to go up to.
Now you also have the
Vince.
other. You now have the passage going into the burial chamber.
Grab the
Of course
spear
we
off. I'm going to swap the crowbar for the spear that Vince is holding because he's still quite comatose, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm still kind of like there, just not
Give him
with
a
the
quick
world in-
shake.
Ah!
Snap out of it, man.
Does anybody have first aid? Because I took 6 points of damage.
Oh, first aid.
Yeah, I'm looking pretty bad myself.
I
Not
got
too bad.
base.
I've got first aid. I'm going to attempt first aid then. Actually, I've only got 30%. So, Professor, see if the band-aid works. Oh, I appear to have put my finger in your cut. I do apologise. I got 98.
Oh, that's something, old boy. Mm.
Am I
I'm still
shaking out of it yet?
Still holding the candle. Sorry.
There is definitely some crumbling going on. You're afraid that this whole roof could come down as well. What do you do?
Wait, Mike. Get his arm. We'll just drag him in.
I will we'll grab him,
All right.
Drag him into the
head on through to the.
two.
After about 5 minutes, he's going to start to come to and start yelling, but not knowing quite why or what he saw.
Professor.
Probably best we don't tell him.
Oh, good idea, Professor. Find a piece of furniture to jam the to make sure the door doesn't close on us as we go back into the tomb.
All right.
There, when you're looking at the tomb door itself, It doesn't look like there's any mechanism. That thing just slid the door to the side, scraped it along the ground.
Okay.
Not much of a seal, is it?
Except that it weighs 5 tons. Who's going to move it?
Just saying.
Well, as soon as I get my wits about me, I'm going to go and see if I can't help Turlo there and try and stabilize him just a little bit more.
All right. So what are you guys going to do? You're afraid the roof's going to come down in the antechamber.
So we're dragging Vince into the opened tomb.
Burial chamber. Okay.
Burial chamber,
Okay.
sorry. And
Drag.
I just asked Turlo to find something to put against the slab and said stop it rolling back. But obviously you said it was there's no mechanism, so
Yeah, it wasn't rolling. It was literally sliding.
It was moved.
So
So use the candle to have a look in the chamber.
inside this chamber, the chamber is almost as big as the antechamber that you were just in, although it's going north and south long. There is a huge sarcophagus in the center of the room. It looks like, at first glance, that there were multiple wooden sarcophagi on the outside, and that in the center there was a golden sarcophagi, kind of in the shape of a man with a wolf's head, and the lid has been pushed over to the side and fallen, against the wall. That's obviously where the thing came from. There are hieroglyphics and paintings, not only on the wooden parts of the sarcophagus, but on the walls all around you.
Any ideas what these say, Tulok?
I'm still groaning in pain, guys.
Oh, sorry, yes, of course. Yes.
And I should also mention that there is also another archway to the south and going in.
South is effectively back the way we came. So we've gone, we entered through a south tunnel, and then we went east into another room, and then this new tunnel goes south back the way we came.
Right.
So it's possibly worth actually going and have a look in there, looking around the corner in there to see if that.
When you look around the
goes back
corner,
to-
you can see that this is a treasure room. There's even more gold and stuff in here. And in the center of the room is a large stone box made out of some kind of dark stone.
Oh, is it big enough to have a human in?
No.
I want to open it, but I think that might be a bad idea. Wainwright, what do you think?
Well, things aren't quite going to plan so far, are they? But we do seem to be in the burial chamber of the pharaoh. We've got to investigate this.
Is there any other? Are there any other weapons in the? You say there's a treasure room. Are there any other weapons? In the treasure room?
Oddly enough, the boat theme is sort of in here. There are 2 golden oars leaning up against the wall. But other than that, there's no real weapon.
Okay.
You hear
Oh,
you hear more grinding coming from the antechamber, and it sounds like just because of the explosion, more shifting in the structure itself.
No,
Not like
'cause
something
we
else
heard-
being moved.
No, it sounds like like the place is extremely unstable now.
Is there any lights?
No.
So there's no light coming from. Okay, it's just for the candles. I was okay. If we go back and look in the the room with the crocodile guy, there's no light pouring in from the damaged room.
No.
Okay. And how big is this? So how big is this box that's in the
Well,
new
I'd say
antechamber?
it's about 3 feet wide, maybe 2 feet high and 2 feet deep. And it has a lid on it. It's kind of ornate. It's a dark stone, but it's got carvings in it that all look like typical funerary sort of carvings.
Oh, this could be. It's what are they called? The jars. I think we should open it, Wainwright.
I agree. I agree. Well, does it look quite difficult to open? Is it likely to be?
No. It looks like the lid would lift off of it, but
Okay, Wainwright, grab one of those oars.
Let's do this.
all
I'm
right.
going to lift. It's going to be a really bad idea.
Why don't you guys do a strength roll?
Oh, 97.
Yep, I made it.
Okay.
I didn't.
Well, you start to shift it off, and the archaeologist lets it slip a little bit, but you manage to get it off, and he is correct. There are funerary canopic jars inside, but traditionally there are 4 of them, and in this one there are 5. And the 5 of them are a falcon, a crocodile, an ibis, and a wolf. And the 5th one is an upside-down ankh. The canopic jars are black, but they're carved, made out of stone.
The ankh again. It's, definitely something about this. I'll take a closer look.
All right. Well, it's possible to remove the lids, but if they are canopic jars, then they're going to have body organs in them.
Which one traditionally has the heart in?
I'm not sure, actually. My research didn't take me quite that far.
The upside down heart, the upside down ankh means death. So,
According to Wikipedia, there was no jar for the heart.
okay.
It was actually left inside the body.
What are you guys actually holding them, or are you
No, yeah, we just simply look in the hole.
just looking?
Yeah, I'll pick up the one with the ankh on and sort of examine it a little closer.
Do a listen roll.
Ooh, I think that's good. No.
Right. It looks like you could easily open it.
Are there any scale in the rest of the treasure room? Are there any scales in here?
No. Well, maybe there are, but
Okay.
once again, you start to hear grinding from the other room, and you can hear a block fall and hit the ground. You're afraid that collapse out there might be imminent.
Am I coherent enough to look for hieroglyphs?
There's hieroglyphs on just about everything.
Do I see anything that's relevant?
Not really. You're in the treasure chamber with them, or are you back in the sarcophagus room?
I guess I'm in the sarcophagus room.
Well, as you're
Yeah, we're in
looking-
pitch black.
I'm kind of like huddled in a
you
corner
still
trying
have
to
multiple
be still.
candles. Let's say that you lit a candle. Your guys are kind of afraid, so.
Okay.
You're looking at the sarcophagus, and it's obviously that all of the outside wooden sarcophagi had hieroglyphics. And what you're seeing is sort of a depiction of somebody being tested by this black pharaoh. And there's some sort of a ceremony where his head is removed and is attached this wolf. It's basically saying that he is becoming his undying servant, and that he will wait and guard until his pharaoh, his god, returns. And that's the narrative that you're sort of getting out of it, that this thing is a servant of the god. It's the thing that you saw kneeling next to the pharaoh in the other room. It also seems to look like there were a lot of them at one point.
So maybe one of us needs to pretend to be the pharaoh.
Which one
Any
of us can
volunteers?
speak?
Tom, just to check, am I out of my funk yet?
Yeah, you're coming out of it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go check on Turlo there, like I said, and see if I can't help him out a bit since he's still looking pretty bad.
Well, if you've got first aid, you can take 1 hit point off if you make it.
Okay. Nope, I just made it worse.
Ah, come on. Damn it.
Sorry.
Why? Why? I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this.
It's sort of. Go ahead. Sorry.
Wait. This is all a bit odd. So where are we? Let's see where we're at. We've just come into this tomb of a dead pharaoh who should be dead. We've seen some slightly odd paraphernalia. Certainly the statues, human statues with crocodile heads, is unusual. The upside down ankh is even more unusual. 5 coffee jars are highly unusual, and some big monster human grave robbing person coming out of the darkness attacking us is even more unusual.
Hey, that's not a person, that's a werewolf.
Werewolf. There's no silver in the tombs, it's just gold, so werewolves,
Yeah.
that might be a
Wainwright, do
Some-
a what do I want to say? Do a spot. We'll call it a spot hidden. Do a spot hidden for me, Wainwright.
But no.
I had more no's in this game than any other game I've ever played.
Turlo, what makes you think one of us pretending to be this dark pharaoh thing would help?
You got a better idea, old man?
No.
I've got an idea. The golden ankh in the temple. It's got to have something to do with all of this. Is it too dangerous to go back through there now, or is it still accessible?
It's
Come on, here's the candle. It's perfectly fine.
technically still accessible, although that roof out there looks like it's going to collapse.
This is your dig, Wainwright. It's your dig. You're cool.
You're quite right.
If
You know
anyone
what?
can save us, Wainwright, it's you.
If we don't figure this out soon and try something, we're all going to end up buried alive in here. I'm going to go and grab that ankh and I'm going to see what's going on with it. I'll take the candle and I'll move cautiously back through.
Actually, Wainwright, I'm coming with you. I'm going to go with him with the spear that I took from Turlo. Sorry,
We're all going to
from
stick
Vince.
together.
Vince,
Turlo,
you
can
have
you make
a... Vince, instead of the spear you have in your hand, you have a crowbar. So I swapped them over earlier when I slapped your face. So yes.
All right. So you're
Let's
going to
go
move back through the antechamber to the annex. Yeah, that's where the.
All right. Yes.
All right, Wainwright.
Yeah.
Do a luck roll.
Oh, nope. Well and truly below that.
What did you roll?
86.
Stars are not right tonight.
All right. You start working your way back through the antechamber. Everybody else do a luck roll.
Oh, good Lord. 99. Oh my God.
Who failed?
6. I got 6.
Okay.
I failed.
I failed spectacularly.
Well, as you guys are moving, there's a cracking sound, and suddenly the roof begins to collapse. And unfortunately, the only one of you that isn't crushed by falling off is Edgar Carter. Edgar, roll like a 1 or a 2. A 2-sided, 4-sided dice, and tell me what roll you get.
4.
Okay. So what you end up doing is leaping forward into the annex just as the roof comes crashing down. And unfortunately, you're basically sealed in a small little room, and there's no way anybody's ever going to get to you. Not within probably 3 months it'll take them to get to where you are. So you also die, and you all died. Everybody died. And thank you all for playing.
Hey.
All right. Well,
You call that a plan, Wainwright?
I have to say that I was surprised you threw the dynamite down the passageway, because the passageway was already about to collapse. It's just the way that it went, I guess.
I wasn't
Seemed a
surprised.
good idea,
These
so.
Europeans always treat us as expendable.
Was there any way of actually getting out alive?
Oh yeah, I mean there was a number of things that could have happened here. You could have hidden from the creature. The creature had basically 2 needs. Its first and foremost need was it wanted to get out. Its second need was food. So if it had encountered you and you didn't successfully fight it off, and it would have given up. If it was too much trouble to kill you and eat you, it would have just given up and returned to its first thing, was trying to get out of this tomb. It hadn't expected to wake up yet. You guys woke it up making noise. You could have hidden in places and let the thing go down the passage and just scratch at the door. Then you might have been able to figure out some way to kill it without blowing up the passageway.
That's what I would have done.
And the best way to do that was, had you opened the canopic jar with the ankh on the top of it, it had the creature's heart, which was still beating.
That's what
If you had destroyed the heart, you would have destroyed the monster.
It was close. I was thinking that opening the jar was either going to be really, really bad or really, really good. I wasn't quite brave enough to open it.
You could have also tried something where you distracted the creature and got it, let's say, in the antechamber, and then made noise down the passageway where you chose to think, and get the creature to run as if it was going to attack you, and plaster yourselves against the wall, the creature might have just skipped right past you and hit that stone slab and actually knocked the stone slab over, letting you all out. The creature, of course, would have gotten out too. It probably would have been, I would have made it unconscious for a couple of seconds so that you could have killed it if you had the gumption. Otherwise, it would just run away, and then you'd start hearing rumors that there was some sort of a creature that was killing people. It was all your fault. There were a lot of ways that this could have gone. You could have killed.
So was the creature? Was it still alive in the tunnel?
No, probably crushed. It only had it had a 200 strength, but it only had 17 hit points. And when you brought that passage down on it, there's no way that it could have.
So had I not rolled a 6 and lost the most possible sanity at once, I could conceivably have fought it off.
Yeah, you could have
here.
fought with it. It was stronger than you. It might have still crushed you or killed you, but
That sounds plausible.
yes, this other guy had broken into the tomb, and the superstitious people outside had sort of they'd try to murder them, and so he snuck in here to try to get some of the stuff and get out before it happened. But the creature got him first, and had a little snack. Anyways, let me go ahead and end that. If everybody would mute for just a moment, and I will finish up. Our players included Thomas Greenway, Kevin Rolfe, Kim Smeltzer, Ford Fitch, George Sieg, and Joshua Mara didn't make it, sorry, with myself as the keeper of the secrets. Our music was provided by the very talented Alex Vargas, who wrote this piece especially for us and for this episode. We hope to hear more from his music in the future. Our many thanks to him. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. Patrons of our show can now enjoy recordings of our pre- and post-game conversations when we first publish them. Some of the funniest and most interesting stuff occurs before and after the show. We have a new patron today. Wesley Bridges has pledged $5 a month. Thank you so much, Wesley. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month will help us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.